Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast. And we're looking at play props here on Thursday with just 3 games to choose from on this NBA slate. We're going to be taking a look at player props here. Also have best bets up in the other episodes, so make sure to subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along and check out both videos each and every weekday this season. Also want to let you know real quick, if you do not yet have a BetMGM account, you are eligible to go ahead and get that new customer sign-up bonus that we have in partnership with BetMGM. If you do use the codes, the lines, YT, when you sign up, you will get up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your first bet does not cash. Also get $50 in bonus bets regardless if you do use that code. So make sure to go ahead and drop that in there. If you don't yet have that BetMGM account and get to betting, Nate, let's go ahead and take a look at your first play prop here from this little slate.
Yeah, Kobe White, and it's over 18.5 points is the core line, but I'll take one more point to get plus 120 odds here. I think he gets 20, which he did done in 4 straight prior to last night's dud in Dallas. We don't know about the status of Zach LaVine. I mean, books are putting his props up, but they do that. Even if he's out there, I don't think he's going to be a dominant usage player. And I mean, this year at least, Kobe is seeing similar, points, actually more efficient as a scorer when LaVine's been out there. We're looking at a small sample. I mean, it's only a 2-game split without LaVine. He does have a higher usage rate without him, and last year scored 4 more points per game, 4.5 in fact. But that was with DeRozan out there. Of course, DeRozan was the main cog for the Bulls, and even with him out there, when they hosted the Wolves in March, Kobe went for 33, 5, and 7. Very high usage in that one. I'm surprised that he's not a big home road splits guy, at least last year. Like he was, just whatever the matchup was. But this year, at least, the last 2 home games, 24.5 a game, shooting 53% from deep. You're going to have to get it going from the perimeter a little bit against this Wolves team. But they haven't been like the Wolves of last year by any means. I'm not saying like they're going to keep him out of the paint. They're 24th in paint points allowed, 27th fast break points. And Kobe is averaging a team high 13 drives, shooting 54% on the drives, 67% at home. So yes, he is a little bit more comfortable there. I will take him on the back-to-back, given that the Bulls pretty much punted that game early. I think they'll be ready for this one and hang around a little bit. Definitely not going to back them to cover here, but I do like Kobe in particular to score some points.
Yeah, he's going to have to. At least he is going to be playing with the starters more, might not get quite as much Nickeil Alexander-Walker, that kind of thing. Zach LaVine playing helps, though, to take one of those ball-hawking wings off of Kobe in this situation. Maybe he sees some Ant. I'm not really sure how the Wolves will want to play it. They don't always put Ant on someone that's going to be moving around that much, although he wants to take that on. So either way, like Kobe's going to be a guy that's going to be out there. He's a little bit more blowout proof and coming off some bad nights, especially without Zach LaVine, which he's actually been just as good with Zach LaVine this season as without him. Then it doesn't seem to have an impact on him. So it's just a matter of if you think he's going to have a good game tonight. And I'm not always in a rush to take guards against this Minnesota team, but they've given up some points to some playmaking guards this season that are on ball and don't require the passing to get them involved in the offense. So speaking of guys that don't really need much passing to get involved in the offense, I'm going Anthony Simons over 20.5 points. I think this is a lateral play to 25. I think he's the only dude that's going to be scoring for them. I do love the fact that he put up a 40 piece on him last year as well in that one matchup that he had with him. So that's we got a nice use case there of evidence that he can do this, which we know he can. He went 7 for 15 from deep. 5 of those threes were above the break. And really all 7 of them, but like 2 of them, if you look at the shot chart, were like right on the bend before you get into the corner. So he's really not going into the corner much, which is a place that the Spurs are a little better defending. They're a lot better defending threes because they're so much worse defending them above the break, which is where Anthony Simons is shooting 50% of his shots, right? We know that he's going to be your classic pick and roll ball handler who is going to either have the option to take a step back 3 or try to drive to the rim. I don't think he'll be doing quite as much driving to the rim with Wemby in there, and that Spurs with their second best opponent rim field goal percentage, really bad opponent rim field goal percentage because Wemby either blocks it or makes you take a shot you've never taken before and hoist it over your head because he's going to block it. So I don't know he'll be doing that much, but it doesn't matter because the type of player that they give up points to are players that are shooting off the pull-up, players that are shooting, once again, similarly, without needing the ball to be swung around to them to get a catch-and-shoot look. Anthony Simons has the ball in his hand, is shooting a ton of pull-ups, 7 points per game off pull-ups, 11 when he's running a pick and roll as the ball handler, 11 points per game. So that gets you halfway there off of that. The Spurs don't foul very much, but he hasn't been relying on the free throw line too much to get his points. It's like I said, just above the break. And the Spurs are giving up the 9th most threes anyway, 3rd most above the break. They give up the 6th most points per game to the shooting guard position as opposed to the point guard position, mostly because it's not necessarily about the position. It's more about, is this the primary scorer, right? If you look at a guy like Anthony Simons and call him the primary scorer, then those numbers are much better against the Spurs as well, whomever that dude is this season that we've seen. Guys like Jalen Green, who has like 3 bad games in a row until he gets the Spurs again, and then has a really good matchup in that situation, whether he's got like a Champagny guarding him. There's no Sohan around anymore to be Dennis Rodman the second, essentially. So I like Anthony Simons to go for this one. I might consider a little ladder to 25 points for him.
Yeah, that was definitely where I was looking at to start here for any Blazers props, right? I mean, is threes from Simons, because that's where you have to score. Against the Spurs, you had to go up to kind of 4 threes to get any value on that. And I would consider it for sure. Maybe even parlay with the 20 points and the threes, because, he's hoisting from deep. Yep. And the Blazers are going to need him in the outside-in approach here. But
one more reminder, Nate, if I can give my just traditional reminder that on Prize Picks, this is minus 137 to go over 2.5, as opposed to minus 166, which is the lowest number you're going to get on any regular sports book. So when you see this little weird thing, you got to take plus 130 to go over 3.5, or you got to go minus 170 to go over 2.5. Go to the DFS sites, you'll get it for minus 137.
Yeah. So, I'm going to take another Blazer here. Toumani Camara over 14.5 points and rebounds is minus 105. I would throw a yellow light on this if Shaedon Sharpe is cleared and able to play, but he probably is going to be on a minutes restriction if he does go. And it seems like Camara is kind of playing. He's got a slight edge over Denny Avdija in terms of the minutes in the forward spot here. I mean, Chauncey Billups definitely likes what he's bringing on defense. From Camara, who I pointed out to you is Belgian. You did not know, your countryman. But making a year 2 leap on offense as well, gone from a 110 to a 125 offensive rating, been very good in his last 4, 12 points per game, 5 rebounds, hitting 2 threes at 47%. And he's going to be spotting up in the wing, in the corner, against the Spurs team that is beatable in those areas, right? And that's going to be focusing on Simons because he's torched them the last few. So I think he'll get some clean looks here to try to get you to the 10 points, because that's really what you need. I mean, books have him at minus 148 to get 5 rebounds, which is a 60% implied probability. If he's going to play 34 minutes per game like he has in the last 4, like there's going to be rebounds available in this game, even though the Spurs limit rebounds. I mean, they're on a back-to-back. They're going to miss a ton of shots. Last time, even against Duty Utah, they allowed 53 rebounds and 48 paint points on that back-to-back. And then they don't have Sohan, so that definitely hurts them on the glass and at this power forward position. But they're still big if they're going to replace Sohan with Keldon Johnson. So I think Camara is safe as far as like positionless wing to throw out there for the Blazers. Like him and Avdija are both probably going to see 30 minutes or more here, even if Shaedon Sharpe's cleared and goes like 20 minutes. So I'm fine taking the boards and the points here for either of them. But I just trust. I think Avdija is like a little bit in the doghouse, a little bit struggling to find his rhythm on offense with his team.
It seems like it. He's had a few nice like rebound assist type games, but nothing that we really saw from him yet in Washington when he would sort of explode as one of the main players on the floor. And I think you expected him to be that for them. So Toumani coming in. Yeah, did not know he was Belgian. Crazy, my fellow countryman. But I've always felt this affection for Toumani since I saw him play in summer league when he was on the Suns before he even ended up on this team, because he's just so long and rangy and is the exact type of player to get the rebounds, especially against this team. And I think that's where you're getting a big bump here, is that I think he's easily good for like 5-6 boards in this one, and won't require too many buckets to have to get over the PR in this one. But let's go ahead and close with an under for Wemby. I added the assists only because they're at least kind of high, but I think assisting is the thing he's going to do here. But I still think 40.5 PRA I feel comfortable with going under that. The minus 120 on Bet365 for 40.5 to go under. he's playing in no rest. I don't think that's nearly as big of a deal as it was last year. I will say that. So I recognize that as I give you these stats from his no rest stuff from last year. But it's 17.8 points per game and 9.1 rebounds in 27 minutes per game. He's playing 31.2 minutes per game this season. In those 31 minutes, 33 PRA combined per game. So 7 more than he would need here, 8 more that he would need here to get over that number of 40.5. And don't look now, the Blazers are good versus centers. And I'd made sure that they didn't just play like Andre Drummond 5 times. Like they've played centers that can score and pass and play offense. And they still are number 1 in limiting points to the position, 9th in limiting rebounds. I'm still not ready to use the name dominating unironically. I'm still only going to use it to make fun of him. But say what you want, like this has been a really good team down low. A little Duop Breath here and there as well. A bit big on that guy as a backup center, to be honest. I'm not saying that these dudes can hang with Wemby, but Ayton's been a good rebounder. And the limiting of the points and the way that they're playing down low, a really good paint defense this year. There's just a lot more going for them. The centers that Portland's gone up against: Domas, Zubac, Chet, Nurkic. So all dudes that can play make, all dudes that can rebound, obviously, and score the ball. And so they've done a really good job limiting that position, in part because they're giving it up to more wings. And guys like Avdia and Jeremy Grant aren't proving to be the stoppers that I think we thought they'd be, as the small forward positions having some success against the Blazers and stuff, but not necessarily coming from in down low and then back out or anything to that effect. And like I said, I like the assists. I think he might get about 3. He might even get 4 assists, but it's such a high number for him. It's that over 3.5 is still like plus 120 or what have you for his dimes, that I like adding it to there because of the implied probability that that's not going to happen. So yeah, I have no problem adding the assist, but even if you took like 36.5 PR alone, he's averaging 28 of those on the season. And one of those games was a 24 rebound performance, slight outlier against Şengün, we'll call it. So I think this is an under for a dude that, I mean, look, it's Wemby, but yeah, I'm taking the under tonight.
Yeah, he had 20 rebounds against Houston and still didn't get to this number. He's only gotten this number once by the hook, and that was on the back-to-back, but it was against Utah, just a defenseless team right now. And you got to factor in the fact that Mitch Johnson is interim coach right now. It's not Pop. So, I mean, at least in 2 games, we have not seen the offense look that good for the Spurs by any means. 102 points per game. Wemby shooting 41.5%. Wemby only 3 total assists in 2 games. So, I mean, I think you can continue to fade him. He's also not hoisting as many threes because there's an emphasis on him getting down low and trying to get some stuff. But to your point, Portland has not been giving it up down low to centers.
Yeah, crazy stuff. And I think Wemby might actually be getting the biggest inflation on his numbers of any NBA player. Usually you see that for a guy like LeBron or maybe Jokic, but even Giannis. Right now, I would say Wemby's getting some inflated stuff that you could beat, like still 23.5 point props. Like he's hit this once. I don't get it's Wemby. So everyone's like, oh, Wemby over, take him over. So be careful with that stuff. We're getting great value on the under for him right now. But that's all the time we have for you in this one. Also got the best bets up, as we mentioned. So make sure you are subscribed to that page and check out each and every one of these videos we're bringing you all week throughout the rest of this season. And until we see you next, happy betting.